All right, boys, how we doing?
I've been better.
Aye,
Whose
I'm going to
idea?
go in.
Whose idea was this? Why
I
can
really
Hearts
don't know.
never just be normally? Why can this not be a comfortable home win where we can start? We decided that we were going to start after match reactions as and when we could because we thought that's something, an element that was missing, and we've picked a perfect game to start. 1984, I believe Laurie Dunsire said on the Hearts TV was the last time Morton took anything from Hearts. And today they've walked away with a point again in a game where, again, you could probably argue they deserved three because we were shambolic. Well, there you go. There's, I dug yous out for our nice bouncy intro on Tuesday, and here we were a very common theme. Where do you even start with that, Ando?
Well, it's not good enough. I was going to try and temper my anger, thinking, right, you know what? We've just not long had the full time whistle. Is it right to go off on one and start fucking denigrating everybody? Yes, is the answer. I'm not going to dress it up as something that it's not. That's absolutely not good enough. At home to Morton, a 1-1 draw. Sorry, it's not for me. Not what I signed up for.
Kev, yourself?
I think I'm going to go and get a hot poker and stick it in my eyeball because it wouldn't be as painful.
Aye, you can poke me with that straight after it if you want, Kev.
It's just
Uh, oh
drivel.
well, right. Well, let's try and get the professional stuff out of the way first. So, aye, as you'll know already, we are the guys from This Is My Story, Your Hearts podcast. Uh, we're going to try and do this after every game. If it's content that you like, if it's something that you think you'll watch or you're interested in, comment, like, share, all that type of stuff, the usual stuff on YouTube. Let us know, is there any aspects of it we can do better? And obviously, it's the first attempt at it today. We put out on Twitter just before we came on here for questions, so we'll go through some of your questions at the end and we'll try and answer them or discuss them because, to be honest, loads of them are just are points that we'll probably raise anyway. But if we've missed anything, we'll try and talk through them. Yeah, we'll try and do just a little bit more interaction on the YouTube. Now we'll try and discuss if there's anything major like signings or big news that come out the club. We'll try and react to it via the YouTube. Obviously, we'll still be on all our social medias as well. So we'll be on Twitter. You can get in contact with us website. You can get in contact with us on Instagram, and then obviously like and subscribe for YouTube. Right. So that was the professional stuff out of the way. Today, as you'll have seen, we'll have all witnessed, Hearts played Greenock Morton at home. After 90 minutes, it was 1-1. That is us now on 38 points for the season. There was 51 points available. As it stands with 17 games played, we have dropped 13 points. Uh, Other stats that are noticeable that jump out, that was our eighth game in 2021. We have played 8, won 4, lost 2, drawn 2, scored 14 goals, conceded 9. We've only scored 4 goals in the first half in 2021. So we're we're in this habit of either having to concede to get a kick up the backside, or we just can't score. I think we've had something like near 20 attempts today, and we've had 4 on target or something, which is just absolutely mental. So we'll dive into it. First half, we're going to have to be pretty honest and say that we were actually okay in the first half. To be honest with you, we lined up with Gordon in goal. We had Smith, Halkett, Popescu, Kingsley. We had Halliday and McInnes in the holding midfield positions. Gary Mackay-Steven, Stephen Naismith, and Castanier with Boyce up front. So, first 45 minutes, Handel, what was your thoughts on it?
Well, I thought for the first 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, I thought we were all right. We were creating chances. We were in their half of the park. There was a couple of, like, basically we should have been 2-0 up after about 7 or 8 minutes. I thought the signs at the start of the game were absolutely positive, but that very, very quickly petered away. Within the sort of 30, 35 minutes, it was flat going into half time. I think nothing. There was nothing really there to get excited about from half time up until Morton scored. Then it was just again dull dishwater. Absolutely crap. There's no other way of describing it.
Kev, how did you see the first 45 minutes?
I thought the first 45 minutes was actually a lot better than we've probably seen in the past sort of few weeks. There was definitely more impetus about the side. You could see Mikey Smith was moving forward, Kingsley was moving. Everybody was going in the right direction, and a lot of that came from McAneff actually controlling things in the middle of the park. And we mentioned it on Tuesday night, the way in which McAneff actually takes a ball, he adjusts his body, adjusts his feet so that he can always make sure that his first touch is a touch where it's actually the ball's going forward. So that was great to see. I think, all in all, the first 45 minutes is what we want to see, but we did not work the goalkeeper enough. As simple as that.
Aye, so Preston Pans Hearts actually got in contact with us on Twitter to make a very good point, to be honest with you. He said the game changed. The game changer today was the usual half-hour tactic of switching the wingers. Thought that Castanier was doing really well. Gary Mackay-Steven not so much, but he'd been improved in his recent week's performance. We switched him over, pushed up, and stopped pushing McAneff up, etc. It made a big difference to the team. That is something that we do all of the time. I can't remember what game it was, but we actually spoke about this on the podcast as well, where we got a bit of a foothold in a match and then switched the wingers. I think it might have been Dunfermline actually. Dunfermline started the better in the game against us at Tynecastle. We got control of the ball, started to play some decent football. We started to dominate, and then we switched the wingers, and the arse fell out of the team again. Since Preston Pans has spoke about it, and there's a few other people as well that had have spoke about it on social media as well. Gary Mackay-Steven, again, does he last 70, nearly 80 minutes of the game today? Done absolutely nothing. I've been saying, I said on the podcast, that he has to play every week because he's not going to get fit if he doesn't play. But my God, he's absolutely dreadful.
I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh when you say that. But
I'm not going to disagree with you.
You can't disagree with that. I mean, he's had a tough. I must admit, I thought against Queen of the South last Friday night, I thought he had a lot of the ball. He looked to be fairly industrial with regards to the use of the ball. And I think it was you, Corbett, that mentioned it. It looked like everybody was trying to get him a goal. By getting him a goal, that might just take the monkey off his back a little bit, and he can actually be a little bit freer in the way in which he plays. Today, for the first 20-25 minutes of the game, he's got that one little sort of step over and try and put the ball past the guy to get the cross in. And the number of times it actually was blocked for, I think we had 17 corners a day. And it was just, it's like he's only got one trick in his bag. And if that one trick doesn't work, he struggles to actually do something else.
Like our manager.
I was trying, I didn't want to say that was teeing that one up for you, but yeah.
So let's go back to the start then, with the starting 11. We've discussed the first half we played okay. Popescu misses a sitter, but then he is a centre defender in the middle of the six-yard box, try to tap stuff in. You've got to think, well, where's your... I know he's there because it's a corner or whatever, but you're thinking, well, where's our more attack-minded players? Could they be in that position as well? He blazes that over, is probably the best chance. There's a cutback from Mikey Smith where he kind of tries to place it, doesn't he? Doesn't know whether to smash it or to place it. It does neither, and it drifts wide. Andy Halliday has a volley, which he actually does pretty well. To be fair, it's pinged across him. He takes an alright touch with his left, volleys over with his left. It was okay, but all of them other than Popescu they're half chances. They're not, and it's bearing in mind that we're playing in the Vida League. We're playing against Morton, who I said on Tuesday, and I will still continue to say today, are the worst team that we've played this season. They're absolutely stinking. And again, like Kev's alluded to there, we've had 17 corners in a match and no goals from them. and we just do the same thing over and over again. The same corner, no invention, no difference, no nothing. You said it on the pod on Tuesday about adaptation, Ando. It's the exact same thing. We just did it. I tweeted you and Murray this. Can any of you remember for Channel 4 when The Simpsons used to be on? They used to do an advert. Used to do an advert for The Simpsons, right? And there was a donut, and it was on the telephone wire, and Homer climbs up and reaches and grabs the donut, and every single time he grabs the donut, it gives him electric shock. But every time it stops shocking him and pulls his hand away, he still reaches to touch it again, and he reaches to touch it, and he just keeps getting zapped and zapped. That's Hearts. That's Hearts. We do the same thing over and over and over and over again, and hope that it'll be different this time. Let's play 4-2-3-1. Didn't work last week, boss. Let's try again. No bother. Stephen Naismith, you're playing in the 10. But that, I'm shite in the 10 and I can't play that. I know, but this is the week it'll change. Every single week, it's the same shite. And then we sit and we do this. We sit back here, we all get together and we go, what's happening? Why is this happening? And why is Robbie Nielsen not seeing it? It's the same crap over and over again. So, is there anything else in the first half that we felt we missed, Kev?
I just wanted to say that I slightly exaggerated with the 17 corners.
Okay, but it was fine.
But I think the biggest thing for the first half is the way in which we played was 10 times better than what we played in a lot of the other weeks, whether it be against Queen of the South, AR, Dunfermline or whatever. So we did play a lot better in the first half. But to not work the keeper, I think is absolutely scandalous. That to me is the biggest scandal, is the fact that we've got all this possession. We've done all this, forward planning and moving forward and moving the ball a bit well. Actually, can you tell me one save the keeper made?
No, I know. Exactly.
There's a couple in the first half.
It's not.
But they're
the routine saves are right into his body. It's not like you've went, I think he had one for McAneff. McAneff hit one for about 30 yards and it bounced just before him and he's done well to push it around the post for a corner. So yes, I'll give you that. That's one flipping shot in the first half that the actual keepers had to actually do some work.
Flipping. Is that because we're live to YouTube, Kevin? You didn't want to say shite, pish, wanks?
No, that's just because I'm slightly older and my vocabulary has descended into. It's descended into more sort of, politeness.
Well, here's something else.
But don't worry, there's another beer going down.
Here's my question I'll put to you is, how many of you is it 30 minutes into the game and we've no scored, 40 minutes into the game and we've no scored, half time and we've no scored? They're thinking, this is Queen of the South all over again. It's Ayr United all over again. When we don't score early, I would love to know the stats about us. Goals early in matches to win rates versus goals late in games to win rates as well, because we're just, as soon as we don't score, it's like we've spoke about before, you can just see we just run out of ideas. McAneff was really lively first 30 minutes. Castanier, pretty lively. Gary Mackay-Steven, better than what he'd been. Boyce, Naismith, buzzing round about. Kingsley getting forward. Smith getting forward. We miss chance, and you can just see the belief in the team, the belief in the shape, the belief in the system just draining out us. And I think I actually put in a group chat as well that this is Queen of the South all over again, because we don't take our chances. So end of the first half, 0-0, a little bit more positive than we had. They had a bit, again, it's one of those things where I think they grew a bit of belief towards the end of the first half when they had a wee chance for a corner and then that silly cross that hit the bar, and I think they thought to themselves, and these aren't teams, this isn't Aberdeen or Hibs or St Johnstone or Motherwell or Kilmarnock, this is Morton at Tynecastle, and they've sussed us out. So you go in at half time, you're thinking to yourself, right, we're played with a bit of tempo, let's hope for a positive start to the second half. How does the second half start? Morton got up the park, get a shot, get a corner, and you think, what? The exact same happened with Dunfermline. The exact same happened at Queen of the South. Straight for their corner, they're in our half. Harry doesn't get a corner or a throw in or a shot at goal, and you think any reaction that the players are going to have from getting a kick up the arse, gone within 10 seconds, because they're straight at us. So no changes at half time. Would you have changed anything at half time if you were Robbie Nielsen, or would you have been happy enough with what you saw?
I wasn't happy with what I saw, but I don't know. Hindsight's always 2020, isn't it? I would have said that I would have absolutely tore strips off them at half time. Went in there and absolutely bodied them and just saying, look, what the fuck is this? It's like, unless I see an immediate reaction, 3 years are coming off right away, and it'll be the 3 shitest players that are coming off. I seen enough in the first half, or the early part of the first half, to think that, you know what, there's enough here to beat this team. But for whatever reason, the energy just, as we've already covered, just sort of waned out of them, and that is what I would change. That's not something that you can change just like that. You have to do it by personnel. Who would I have taken off and who would I have put on? Sorry, I don't know. Difficult to answer, but
I don't think we would, like you said, I don't think we would have changed anything at half time. I think Robbie had probably went in, and if he's even out, is he allowed in the changing room actually when you've got a touchline by?
I believe so. I don't see why you wouldn't be. You would think it probably is.
Well, you would have probably thought, and knowing the way that Robbie seems to be with the players he trusts, I think he probably would have went in and said, more of the same, we'll get a goal, they're here to park the bus. But as I said, 10 seconds into the second half, they're up the park, having a shot, having a corner, all that. Sucks the life out of us. Any confidence that you've had from a half-time arse kicking drains out you. And then you've seen it with the players. Passing the ball to Castanier, goes under his foot, out for a throw-in. They've had one long ball up the top, up the park, like we'd spoke about against Queen of the South. Long ball over the top. Mikey Smith is miles up the park, miles out of position. They run onto it, takes 2 touches, leathers it into the bottom corner for 1-0. It's a good finish, but so easy. So easy. And like I've said, I'm going to keep harping on about it before, because we're going to win the league. We are. We're going to stumble and have enough. There's not enough games left. The teams around us aren't good enough to put a run together where they're going to win every single game from now to the end of the season. And by hook or by crook, we'll win enough and do enough to win the league. As we said there before, Dunfermline and Rafe are basically 11 points behind us, or 13 points for Rafe's case, but they've got 2 games in hand. Dunfermline have 1 in hand. So it takes them about 8 points with us. Dundee, if they win their games in hand, they could be about 9 points behind us, and if Cali win their games in hand, they can be about 9 points behind us. But you have to factor in that both, in all of their games in hand, they all play each other. So somewhere along the line, they're going to slit each other's throat. So for example, if we use the Dundee-Dunfermline game, which is Dunfermline's game in hand, Dundee beat Dunfermline, that rules Dunfermline out of having really any chance of winning the league, because they'll be 11 points behind, still to play us. We're going to win it by hook or by crook. So it's they're going to run out of games for anybody to seriously charge and hassle us, and that's not good enough. As Ando said, that's not good enough for the budget that we have. Then after they score, you think you'll see a reaction. You think, right, we'll get a G up, we'll see a bit of reaction, we'll start putting pressure on them. We've seen absolutely nothing really until the introduction of Jamie Walker. Some people have said on Twitter that Nandwili made an impact, made a difference. I won't even. He can still get a few more games as a pass before I totally and utterly go for him.
How many though?
But exactly. His touches were a joke. If you actually watch the cutback, he almost runs it out of play for one of the cutbacks, not the goal. His ball in for the goal is actually quite nice, but there's a bit where he gets the ball played through to him and he has to take one decent touch. He's 1-on-1 with the keeper, misses it, rolls it. There's a second one where he's at the byline, he tries to take a touch and beat his man, and he almost knocks the ball completely out of play, and he manages to get the cross in. He was trying to chest the ball down with 3 men on him. He never won a header. So I don't think he made an impact in the game, but he gets a bye because he's only played 3 games for Hearts or something, so he kind of gets a bye. But Jamie Walker, wasn't until he came on that we actually seen a bit of a difference. And again, I'm going to go back to it because where we are, Jamie Walker, arguably for the past month has been our best player.
Aye, he's definitely added the most value.
Close one. Aye, close on. I think Jamie's played really, really well over the last 4 weeks. To an extent that you would actually say that he's going to be the first pick. And we all know that from a fitness point of view, him playing a Tuesday night and a Saturday is maybe not exactly the greatest scenario for him. But I think he's done pretty damn well, if not over and above what you would expect from him. So good on him.
Well, answer me this then. Why does our manager, looking at those teams, bench him?
So
talk me through the reasoning as to why Jamie Walker drops out and Stephen Naismith played the 10. Somebody talk me through it.
So what I've just mentioned, I think, is the only reason I can think of as to why that has actually happened, is the fact that Jamie Walker, as a player, and he probably will admit this is himself, is not the kind of player who can play X amount of games in a short period of time.
Well, it was 8 days since our last game, Kev.
Aye, but how many days before? Do you know what I mean? If you look at how many games we had this month?
8 games before that, because Friday.
Well, in that case, fuck it. See you later, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm out here.
Nah, but
Ando, you got any sense to why he's playing?
Yeah, I think what has happened is Robbie Nielsen heard the podcast on Tuesday where he heard Shanks say that Naismith absolutely has to play. I think he's listened to Shanks and he's fucked it. But joking aside, I don't know. This is, I mean, we've discussed this at length. I don't even know for how many episodes in a row now. It all ties into the fact that Nielsen's a tinker man, right? He never ever keeps the same 11, or he hasn't for a long, long time. There's a number of new boys have come into the club in January. I don't think he himself has seen enough of them in terms of actual game time. He doesn't know what his best 11 is. I think he knows that shape is what he'll take to the grave with him. I think that's what he will always do. I think what he'll do is he'll shoehorn people into that shape by hook or by crook. I think what we've seen today is a little bit of that. Him just experimenting again to try and find out what his best team is. But I don't think he knows.
I'm with you there, and wait, I'll try and do him justice. I'll try and find the guy that tweeted me with the things for it so that I can give him the proper shout out that he said, because in today's match, Stephen Naismith played as a striker in the 10 in midfield, and he played as a right winger, and he managed to last 90 minutes as well. How many other players in the team get to be moved around and get that many opportunities? Castaneer, for example, like you said, was actually pretty lively in the first half. He made a silly mistake in the second where he lets the ball run out under his feet and then he's almost instantly taken off. However, he didn't get moved to left wing. He didn't get moved into the 10. He didn't get a chance to play in the 10, or do you know what I mean? He didn't get shoehorned around. It was a BW17 that added us, said Naismith shoehorned in today at striker, in the 10, right midfield, then centre midfield, and was awful everywhere, but he gets to stay on.
Just going to cut over you, Corbett, here, because since we're now live on YouTube, there's some comments coming in, which I get on my dashboard. So Brian Dixon is asking, too slow again today? ? Yep. I would say is the answer there. Yep. Davey, our old pal.
I was going to say, for the first 20 minutes, it was all right.
Our old pal, Davey McClure, too slow every week. And then, I'm not going to insult you by trying to pronounce that username, but RYUGene1024, spot on from Ando there. Yeah, right, I was spot on. And then Big Mac, is it Big Mac RM 1996, sorry. This tinkering is costing us not enough time for players to get on the same page. Naze is an impact sub at best. And then Davey McClure followed up again with, been pish for years, why have we not learned? The amount of money we have spent and where we are is a scandal. The club is rotten, has been for years, fear for this next season already. And then Jamie Easton just commented with, what would it take for Anne to pull the plug? That's all up to date on the comments. So,
right, well, we'll come back to some of them at the end. Let's finish let's try and remain professional before we start slaughtering absolutely everything. That we'll go through the 90 minutes as and how they happened. So, aye, we didn't get any reaction from the Morton goal, which we thought you would assume you would get a reaction. We're at home, we're at Tynecastle, we're the best team in the league apparently, we're the best players in the league. We've got international players all over the park. You'd think somebody would say, come on boys, this isn't good enough. Get your fucking finger out, let's get on it. But I believe what we score with 10 minutes to go. Whatever, is it as late as that? Is it maybe 15 minutes to go, something like that?
I can't remember.
71 minutes.
71 minutes, aye.
71. So let's talk about the goal. It's actually quite nice play. Decent ball in from Nandwilly and a great header for Walker. Exactly where a 10 should be. He's coming in past the striker. He's in the middle of the park. He's attacking the ball. Exactly where he should be. And it's a great header. And congratulations to Jamie. Jamie, like him as mate. Congratulations to Walker on getting his 50th goal for Hearts. I believe, as we've spoke about before, he now becomes Colin Cameron was the last person to score 50 goals for Hearts, and that was in like 2001 or something like that. So fair play to Jamie.
That was wee.
I also see
that'll tell you how
Hearts
long ago it
Heritage
was.
or something said. I think Hearts Heritage said that he's the 57th player to ever score 50 goals for Hearts. So fair play, and like we've said there, he's been our best player all season long. Well, not all season long, since 2021, to be honest with you. Scores the goal, and then again, you're thinking, right, we'll kick on. As we just said there's 20 odd minutes to go. Let's go show our class. Let's go put a stamp on it. We win today. Dundee have been beat. Rafe have been beat. You go get 3 points today, and we're laughing into it. You're saying like league's done, but no, it was powder puff for the remainder of the match. The lack of options on the bench again. We've let Whiting go to Dunfermline. He scored 2 goals today.
I was just on that, and it's just flashed up on screen in front of me. Ryan Carson it's just written. Also, what about Whiting today? Lol. Which is a fair point, but and just to catch up on the mentions, James Tarwin, Nielsen is good enough for promotion, not good enough for Premiership. If we keep him, we're in a relegation scrap. And then Ryan, just previous to his comment, hey guys, how are we? Congrats to Jamie on the 50th, which you've just talked about, Corbett. But it's making me wonder how we will cope next year. Robbie, I'm not a fan of, especially his attitude. All valid points.
Well, we'll come on. Yeah, valid. And we'll come on to that in a wee minute, because again, loads of people have been in contact with us on Twitter about where we think Hearts could potentially finish next season. And normally I'd be full of bravado and tell you, we'll be great. But as it stands now, I'm not even convinced we're 100% going to get out of this league. So let's deal with the facts first. Goal goes in, and again, it just becomes powder puff there. Like we said, Wigden scoring 2 for Dunfermline, and we're chasing the game, and we bring on Andy Irving chasing the match because there's no strikers on the bench. We've brought Nandwilly on, and he's the only attacking option really on the bench. There's no one else, so you start to question the logic of letting him go. But there you go. We've already discussed. It's nothing to do with Craig Whiting in terms of having a future at Hearts or whatever. But did he still, or could he still have made an impact at the football club this season? The answer to that is probably yes. Should we be relying on him? The answer is absolutely not. We should be more than capable of being able to take care of Morton at home, but that's the cock we're left with this way. You've got to get on with it.
You sound like my granddad.
So, and that was it. Nothing else really. I wish I could sit here and tell you it was like Rafe Rovers, where their keepers turned into Ika Casillas and has made 900 amazing saves, and we've rattled the bar and smashed the post, and we were rubbish. We could have still be playing right now, and we wouldn't have scored in one. Kev?
A question then. We've already said that the first half we played well, second half we were a bit off the pace. Who gets man of the match? That's the answer I was expecting.
Man of the match for me was Bradley, while he's not on the live stream. We were on a call watching the game, and his patter was best. It was better than anything I watched today, and certainly better than Tam's patter. who should have been
I
here
would say
tonight. So,
he's
fuck you,
shattered
Tam.
because he's a
He
happy
is.
clapper, and he doesn't want the podcasters listening to realise that he's as negative and as dull as
Can't
always.
take the rough with the smooths.
That's all we've got to talk about for the 90 minutes. In terms of man of the match, you probably say based on the first half it would be McAneff. I thought
Yep.
everybody that put his foot on the ball and tried, it'd be him. Would you say Walker could be man of the match because he's scored equalisers and was probably the most liveliest since he came on? That tells you where we're at. We're a home game against Morton. That's the standard that we're at. So we might as well.
Sorry, one of the boys with the impossible username. Who was the man of the match? The corner flag, because the corner flag saved us from having a corner against. If you remember, it went out for a throw in. I'm with you, Ryan. I think that's probably what your name is. Whatever it is, 1024. The corner flag gets the man of the match for me. Well done.
The elephant in the room is Hearts under its current setup. So, Robbie, I can't remember where I put it, but on paper, why wouldn't you like Robbie Nielsen? He's a Hearts man, played for years and years at the club, won trophies with the club, played in the Champions League, played at successful sides for us, and was successful at getting us out of the Championship the first time. So on paper, he's and I get why fans want to like him. I get it. He's a Hearts guy, and we're good with Hearts men, and he's been loyal to the club, and we've liked the way he spoke about arbitration and the points deduction and all that sort of stuff, and we've liked all that. And he's knocked Hibs out the Scottish Cup. He's been 2 penalties away from winning the Scottish Cup. He is a likeable guy. Like, you know what I mean? If you were right on paper the attributes we would like for a Hearts manager, Robbie would tick the boxes. And if this was his first ever time managing Hearts, you could probably argue that we would be fine. Get us out of the league. It's a crap season. It's this. It's that. You would accept it. But this isn't Robbie's first time in charge of Hearts. It's not his first time being in charge in Scotland. And everything that we see now is the same complaints that were here the first time. It's the same dross that we've seen throughout Robbie's tenure as managers at other clubs. So the question is, what has to change? Ando, for you, what changes?
I don't want to say it, but
say it.
The play, right? It's a long, and again, I know we're only on here briefly. This isn't a full episode, but the playing staff that we've got, I'm sorry, are good enough to win that league at a canter. We're talking about drop points and all that earlier on. What needs to change is not Robbie Nielsen's attitude, if not Robbie Nielsen himself, right? So Robbie Nielsen's attitude needs to change to the point where he needs to stop being frightened of the opposition and overthinking the opposition. And we've covered this a number of times on the show. I just said show like a total wank there, sorry. On the pod. So he needs to park that chat and he needs to be a little bit more experimental with his shape and formation. It should be the case that let's try and not overthink the opposition. Why don't we just go out to absolutely kick shit out of the opposition? I've not seen us set up in a way to do that so far this season. So that's what needs to change for me. And if any of that can't happen, well, fuck it, we'll change the manager. There, I've said it.
Kev?
I think that was quite a good point. And what needs to change? I think this whole tinkering aspect has to change. Stop pissing about here, pissing about there. Let's just play the strongest 11. And again, this comes back to, do we know what the strongest 11 actually is? But it's a real strange one. It's a real interesting way to look at it, that he wants to change because we're playing at home or we're playing away. Just play a solid back four. If that's what you're going to go with, stick with a back four. And stop playing players that are in the wrong place. You know, we've spoke about it a number of times. It's that whole aspect of, round holes and square pegs, or square pegs and round holes. we just didn't get it. I just didn't get it at all.
Aye.
Let's see two men up front. I think it was Tam that said it on the podcast last week, or um, episode 38, what we've just done. If it's going to be Guandoli and Boyce up front, play the two of them up front. Play them as a two. You see Naismith, to me, he is a striker. He's the guy who links up with Boyce. He's the guy who brings everything in. But what you're now starting to see is that I think Naismith wants to be involved in every area of the park. So he's maybe given the instruction by Nielsen, right, I want you and Boyce to play together. I want you two guys to link together. But because the ball's not getting to him and he's not involved in the game as much, what he starts to do is he starts to drop back to actually take the ball to try and get involved in the game, because that's the kind of character and the kind of player he actually is. So I think there's a lot of aspects that we just aren't quite getting the mix together.
Well, Robbie Nielsen played 4-2-3-1 his first season as Hearts manager. He played 4-2-3-1 the first season he managed in the Premier League. He played 4-2-3-1 until he left to go to MK Dons. When he went to MK Dons, he played 4-2-3-1 when he played at MK Dons. When he went to Dundee United, he played 4-2-3-1. Then he had his full season at Dundee United, he played 4-2-3-1. Now he's back at Hearts, he plays 4-2-3-1. How many times we are screaming we want three at the back, we want two up front, we want this. Robbie Nielsen doesn't change. He doesn't change. He's always been the exact same. And like we've said there, Homer trying to get his donut. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it's we all have jobs, right? And there'll have been projects or whoever that we've been in, and you sit and you listen to your manager or whoever and you think, what the fuck are you talking about, man? That's the stupidest way today that there is. And you're telling me that those players aren't looking around and watching, like, for example, Stephen Naismith struggle in the 10 and then struggle at right wing and then struggle in the centre of the park. They're not sitting there thinking to themselves, how is he still on? Why is he still getting a game? Do you not think that's how football players work? That's what we're like at work. Do you mean if somebody keeps getting asked to do a job and you think, he can't do that job, why does he keep getting asked to do it? It's the same thing, and it's the stuff with Robbie Nielsen that's bugged us from the start. Now, everybody gets hung up on Robbie Nielsen's first time round saying, oh, we had a banner out and a playing out because we were second in the league. We were second in the league whilst team had 3 games in hand or whatever. In the game before that, we'd just drawn with Hamilton away from home after being absolutely dreadful for ages. The stuff that we're seeing now is just a hangover of what Robbie Nielsen does. This is how he approaches games. It's how he wants to set up. It's how he wants to play. He always wants to be smart. He wants to play with 2 10s. He wants to play with two sitting midfielders. We've played at home to Morton with one person up front. We've played one up front at home. 4-2-3-1 is 4-5-1. That's the formation. It's 4-5-1. It's just a fancy way of saying 4-5-1. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely dull. So the manager needs changed. Someone put on Twitter at us when we asked the thing. He said, at least we understood what Stendhal was trying to do with Hearts. And it's true. We knew what Stendhal's style was. Every Saturday we knew what we were going to attempt to do. We knew what the game plan was. We knew what the tactics were. What can you, hand on Hartley Day, tell me that you understood what Hearts were trying to do?
No. Genuinely.
No, exactly.
Some of the, just to take a break, some of the comments, Craig Lindsay, how many times this season have we gone in at half time with the score 0-0? Not good enough. All season apart from Dundee on opening game of the season and perhaps Wraith away too. And that's a fair point. Like I was on the group call earlier on, I was raging because I put on my coupon Hearts half time, full time. Instantly regretted putting it on, and obviously it proved to be fucked again. Big Rab Reed's watching us as well. Rab Fermlin. It says hi guys, and we said fuck you Rab. Hope you're enjoying life in Perth. Bradley has asked a question, but because Bradley's a show host and decided to shit out of the live broadcast and
I don't answer
No,
his
we're
question.
not even going to entertain.
Don't even
Not
read
even
it
going to
out.
entertain
Don't
his
read it
question. Big Mac, I just feel under Stendhal. You could see what he was trying to do in the areas where he wanted. Sorry, my eyes are shit. But his style of play was a lot better to watch. And then Davy McClure, Robbie setting up, not to concede and worrying about the opposition too much sounds familiar. Remind me who his
Yep,
mentor
sure does, David.
was. Who was his
Yep.
mentor?
He who should not be named.
Correct. And then another one from Big Mac, 1996. Stagnant pish, week in, week out, with constant changing of the players every week. Change the fucking shape, man. None of those points I would argue with. I think.
Nope.
I'm
So
there.
if you want, since we put it on Twitter, I'll just quick fire go through some of the questions that are on Twitter. Remember how on Tuesday I said that Big Rab Reid wasn't bothered about Hearts, and he's not bothered about Henry's. He's the first question, which is a question. Question for Corbett: how many Inverness tickets have you sold? But don't tell him because he's not bothered. Remember, he keeps telling us he's not bothered.
Whatever that number is, add 4 to it, because what I said on Tuesday, I'm going to buy an extra 4 at £5 just to take it above Dunfermline's highest attendance ever. Fuck you, Rab.
So here's another question for Harry Temple. And to be honest with you, Richard Cobb answered underneath it, to be honest. Probably the answer that we would give, or close to it. Harry asked, why does Halliday still manage to be first pick when he brings absolutely nothing to the side? Richard Cobb answered by saying he's another one that gets targeted every week when there's 5 or 6 that are equally as underwhelming as him. I wouldn't argue with that. I don't think the problem is Andy Halliday. I don't think he's any worse or any better than anybody else that is in that position. I don't see every week when you look at Hearts Twitter, he seems to be the one that's highlighted as why does he get a game? I don't think he was any worse than McInnes. I don't think he was any worse than Andy Irving over the piece. I don't think he was any worse than Stephen Naismith or whatever. So that's a strange one. We've spoke with Preston Pan's Hearts. We've already answered his questions as well. He'd said as well on another question why was Walker on the bench. He's already scored twice against Morton this year. Reminded me a bit of Sergio not picking Scatchel for the St Mirren Cup tie despite scoring 7 in 3 games against them. Terrible management. Mark Wells, he's again kind of alluded to something that Bradley said on the pod the other day. He says, why do we point the finger at Robbie? He's not playing the PS4. The players must take the responsibility. The manager has been the scapegoat for too long. Robbie, Caffro, McPhee, Levine, Stendhal, Robbie. Stop letting them hide behind the gaffer. I would. There's a part of that I would absolutely agree with. It is the players, but my point with all that would be that we only see the players for 90 minutes on a Saturday. Robbie sees those players every single day at training, plus the 90 minutes on a Saturday, and still picks them and still sets them up in the same way, still trains them in the same way, still lets them. You're telling me, for example, that Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola or Klopp would watch Gary Mackay-Stevens hit 5 of the exact same corners against Queen of the South, and at some point in that week wouldn't have done a training drill to say that's not happening again. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen it the other day. We've had 12 corners and done absolutely nothing with them today.
And Gary Mackay-Stevens never took one of
them. Aye, McInnes did. Still did the exact same thing. Didn't he hit a man? Didn't he score for one?
Put them to the back.
There we go. Let's see what they asked us.
I was going to say, Kev, you've messaged in the chat earlier on. I think you're getting the war cry of your tea is ready.
The dinner's on the table. So,
well, you've learned a harsh lesson here, haven't we? If we're going to do this after every game, just tell the missus to push dinner back to about 7:30.
Well, there's only a couple of more questions, and then we'll wrap it up anyway.
I was going to say that would be fine, but I was told this was only going to be 20 minutes. We've been on record for 1 hour and 25.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's a big, like you said, it's the first time we've done it. We'll streamline this. Okay. We've interacted with everybody as they want to. Kyle Jordan wrote, is there any point signing players in January as they are usually out of shape and lack match fitness? Gary Mackay, Stephen Castanier, for example. It's fair. I said it before. Why? How come Hibs can sign Jackson Irvine, who hasn't played since March, and he's a standout for them? Chris Cadden hasn't played for months and is a standout for them, but Gary Mackay-Steven and Castanier, who haven't played for months, are absolutely jobby for us and look miles off it. Ian Horsburgh he'd hang with us, and this is the one that we'll finish on. Sorry that we can't get into everything. I'll try and respond via Twitter to these ones. Actually, wasn't it Ian Horsburgh? Sorry, Ian. Yours, we've already covered yours, which was what needs to change to get positive performances as a result. It was Craig Lindsay that had tweeted and asked, where's this side finishing if it's in the Premier League? So we'll go around just quickly. Ando, if this Hearts side and its current guys, as it is right now, where do we finish?
We won't be relegated, and we won't be in the playoff position. We'll be whatever's above that. So what, 10th? We've finished 10th, based on how we've applied this season to the Premier League. 10th for me. We're not top 6. Far away from it.
For me, it would be 7th, and I'm only going on 7th, given that there might be fans back in the stadium, because I think fans make a massive difference. And I think fans would possibly find, or you would find with certain players, fans behind them would have positive impact. Let's put it that way.
Well,
I'm going to finish on a positive note. Let's put it that way.
I'll finish on a positive. We'll finish third. Behind them.
Shut up, man.
We'll finish.
We'll
finish third behind Dunfermline, Dundee, and Kelly in the Championship.
Fair point. Fair point.
Right, guys.
This is the guy that doesn't drink.
Before you wrap up, Corbett, thanks to obviously we've had a lot of messages on the live chat and the stream. Sorry we couldn't get through them all. Some of them are quite funny reading them back.
We'll keep the best ones and we'll go through them on Tuesday.
Thanks for the engagement, guys. Been really good.
Aye, and like we said, if you're interested in this type of thing, you want to see a wee bit more of this sort of interaction with us, just let us know in the comments. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, share us about so we can get a bit of a presence. And as we said, we'll see you for the usual nonsense on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Right, guys. See you after.
See you later.
Ciao.